a stool. You can use a bedside commode, you can use a chair, whatever, just something to where you can move out in front of the patient, okay? Because now we've established that she can sit here for 30 seconds to a minute, not lose the balance. So that allows us to be able to move ourselves away from her, because we're gonna be here to start with, right? As she's doing the core, we're either gonna be right behind her as we're doing these things and need to do the pelvic tilts, or need to do the core and have her pulling forward. We're gonna be right here in her bubble. If we've got to help her do if she's pushing, we're gonna be, you know, close. So we're gonna be right here. In case she loses her balance, we can stop, right? So now we have static sitting balance. So now we can move. We're still within reach, but now we have a little bit of a different vantage point from the patient, so we can manipulate the patient in a little bit different way from this base, okay? So we're gonna move out in front, and then we are going to, so depending on, we'll just pick this as her involved side, okay? So depending on what we need to do with this arm, if it's spastic, then we've already done all the spasticity things to get it down to the bed. And so it'll need to be weight bearing on the bed with overpressure over top of it to keep it down. Yes? Everybody see me?
You're just holding her hand down.
And it's got a little bit of weight to it. It's not light. It needs a little bit of pressure to it so that it knows who's boss. Okay? So don't start doing this again. So, but look at the wrist. The wrist is in what?
Extension.
Extension. The fingers are in what? Extension. The elbows in extension. So I'm breaking all of the flexion posturing, right? So we should be pretty good as far as, and we've got weight bearing. And once we move into dynamic, we're not there yet, but we're going to be getting weight bearing through the whole extremity. But for right now, we've got weight bearing through the hand, okay? So if this arm is flaccid, you're going to put it out here on your leg so that you can manage it a little bit better, because now the elbow's going to stay straighter. If I put it here, then I don't have a prayer blocking that elbow with one hand, do I? But if I put it out here, I can keep the hand down to get weight bearing, and I can get my hand under the elbow to keep the elbow straight as a handhold. This side's flaccid, it's not feeling anything at this point, and we're just getting started. So weight bearing is the most important thing, just getting signals, just getting input. Okay? Questions about the upper extremity? Y'all are behind me. You got a good vantage point though. So we're going to work on you always have to take care of and include the upper extremity. That's affected. Can't just forget about it. Okay. So we're going to move out in front. Relook at the, so once we get the upper extremity where we want it based on what's wrong with it, then we're going to relook at the posture again and fix anything that might need fixed. Okay, so that's just as simple as it sounds. If we need to, pull them back up into the pelvic tilt, we can, facilitate that this way. We need to move the collarbones if she needs to come forward. Whatever we need to do, we can facilitate that. So we want the sitting balance back to where it was before, because once we start messing with one side, we might lose it, okay? So we just want to reestablish it once we've addressed the upper extremity and get the upper extremity into weight bearing. Because we want to do that whether it's spastic or whether it's flaccid. Just looks a little different based on the fact of whether the extremity is going to be flaccid or spastic. Okay? All right. So now we're going to make sure that they can, once we reposition them, that the static balance is going to stay, again, 30 seconds, a minute, minute and a half. Once we have a minute and a half, we're pretty good to move forward. And again, we're not challenging anything because that's not what we're doing. Not yet. Make sure she doesn't start drifting forward, backwards to either side. Roll back out of that pelvic tilt. Yeah, if they do say, can you feel like you're kind of rolling backwards, can you fix it? Or do you feel yourself leaning? Can you fix it? Not even to one, you don't even say to one side, the good side, the bad side. Can you feel yourself leaning? Can you fix it? Very broad general cues to see if their brain can process what is going on and fix it. We're not going to let it be vague enough that they're going to fall. We're going to stop it before then. But again, you have to let them error in a safe manner in order for their brain to learn to fix it, okay? Because if we fix everything for them or give them such specific cues and handholds and everything, then their brain is going to it's never going to be any different than it is right now. That's the whole point of the neuro. Okay. So once we've established, so now we have pretty much established static sitting balance. So you're always going to stay towards the side of the affected side when you move out to the front. That way you can manage the arm. So if you wanted to fully position yourself over here, you could. I usually stay kind of focused over here, but make sure that I can reach the good side in case I need to help intervene over there. There, or there. Okay? Questions? No? Okay. So, once we have reestablished that she is able to maintain this static sitting balance for a minute, then we're going to move forward with raising the bed a little bit. And then, depending on how much help she needs, we'd use our little reciprocal pattern to scoot her forward. We want hips higher than knees. This will be a 4-point weight bearing position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So once she's here, and I have control of this, and I have control of this, probably gonna raise her just a little bit more to shift a little bit more weight through her feet. And then I'm going to the best way to going to give her a little approximation down through the shoulder on this side and have her come forward. Now, do you feel weight on all four? Mm-hmm. Both feet, both hands. Hold it about 10 seconds and then have them come back up. This is a 4-point weight bearing position. Now I have weight through all 4 points of contact. Very controlled, very safe. I've already established static sitting balance, so I know I can handle this position with her. I know how much help she's gonna need. I know where I need to be. This is not just something that I jumped in and did, right? So, you have to manage the upper extremity, if it's flaccid, if it's spastic, either one. Because as you move a patient that has spasticity, they're gonna wanna go back into the pattern. So, just keep the wrist in extension, and I'm giving approximation through the elbow, this is her elbow, giving approximation through the shoulder, so that it will go, she gets some weight bearing down through the whole upper extremity as she bends forward. Okay, let's do that again. 2, 3, 4, just count to 10, and back up. Everything feel okay? Is it scary bent over, or does it feel okay? Feel pretty controlled?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, now we're in a 4-point weight bearing position. We know that she can handle an anterior weight shift, which gives us control of what? What does an anterior weight shift give us?
The ability to stand up.
Huh?
The ability to stand up, like
Yeah.
later.
Well, it gives us head hips.
Yeah.
The anterior weight shifts gives us head hips. So if they can do that, then I know some sort of transfer is gonna be possible if they can anterior weight shift. It might be a sit to stand transfer, but even if it's not, I know some type of transfer is on the table. If they can't initiate that forward weight shift, we ain't ready for transfers yet. Because if they kick back when you try to pull them forward, don't do it. Because it's going to be an ugly transfer that's going to hurt you and them both. So this is a 4-point weight bearing position to see how everything takes weight, because the reality is that when she comes forward, there's very often times that they're going to push to that side and avoid putting weight through here. That gives you a lot of input. Okay, well, we're not ready for weight bearing on this side. It's controlled. It's a good place to find that out, and not standing somewhere, not trying to transfer somewhere. So these are your steps that don't just tell you, okay, well, this is just a box I check. This is not just a box you check. This is the information that it's giving you. Are we ready for the next thing? So this tells you that she does not have an aversion to having weight through the affected side. It tells you that she does not have an aversion to an anterior weight shift. Make sense? Okay. So, after the 4-point weight bearing, is when you, because technically, we're like in a transition phase. We're not really to the dynamic, but we're not truly static anymore, because we're starting to move the body a little bit, but we're not to like what we think of as like dynamic sitting yet, but it's not truly static, because truly static has to be addressed before we move to this. So, and then if we want to further this a little bit and see how far we can actually push the patient, then we can come back to this position, hold the knee in, hold the foot in, and have them come forward this way. We just lack the approximation through the shoulder, but we get more of an anterior weight shift, so it's kind of like a trade-off. Just if you want to see how far they can, or if they're willing to come. So you can always go that route as well.
Where does side shifting come in here?
We're
Right
getting
after
there.
this
That's
one?
for dynamic.
Okay.
Yeah. We're getting there, I promise. It's just, if you put it together and you realize what you're learning in each step, then you know it's okay to go to the next step. And it won't always be this slow. Once you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, then you'll be able to, go through
Yeah,
it.
it didn't feel slow.
Yeah, right. No, it doesn't. But, and likely you skip steps because somebody had already done them. Does that make sense?
Well, I got her fresh from the eval, but
Oh, okay.
she was pretty, cognitive as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So,
I feel like it went
Yeah.
fast.
but just taking you step by step and telling you what you're learning with each exercise, because you might do that twice with her and say, okay, we got no aversion to that, now we're moving on to the next thing. We're not going to spend time someplace that we don't need to, but we have to establish it and then move on. So again, it might take 30 seconds. Okay, so now we've established her ability to weight bear on all 4 extremities, at least in some capacity, and an anterior weight shift. And we want to make sure that before we move into like the lateral shifting, I'm going to go ahead and put her back down into more of a little bit of a comfortable position. Okay, and then I'm going to have her just turn her head left and right. See if she maintains. Sometimes they'll go with their head. Again, something you need to know, because does the head go when you transfer? Yes, the head moves. So if they're going to completely lose their balance when they turn their head, that's something you need to know before you move them. So in this nice controlled environment that we know when nothing moves, she's good, we test it. So we'll go, look over each shoulder a couple times. We'll go up and down a couple of times. And again, this is not something you have to do every treatment, but when they're new to you, you have to know, can they do this? Or when we're doing it for the first time. So we'll have them, check the head, make sure that they don't fall off whenever, they don't follow their head like, my steering wheel follows my head in the car. If I have to turn and look at something on this side, all of a sudden I'm over this line. So that tells, again, that gives us more to the story. Because your neuro patient is going to be a story that's going to be different every time. And you need all the pieces in order to do your treatments properly. So we'll look at the head, have them do the head, and then do another quick posture assessment. Are they still looking good, or do we need to say, okay, we're gonna pop back up right here. All right, and we look like, okay, yeah, we're sitting, maybe she's off at this hip a little bit, and so I'm gonna say, okay, we're gonna put this hip back down over here. Okay, good, now we're gonna move on. So each new task you give her, look at the sitting balance again. Fix it real quick and move on. Make sense? Okay. So then, after we've assessed that, and we have assessed somewhat the weight bearing through here, but it was pretty limited really. I mean, it was just kind of that little bit of a forward weight shift. So we want to challenge the upper extremity. So we're going to bring it out to the side. If it's spastic, the focus is going to be on keeping the extension everywhere to break the flexion posture, right? Because that's what keeps the tone down once we have it there. And see if she can like lean. And see what the capabilities of that upper extremity are. Can it hold her? Can it not hold her? Do I have to keep the elbow in? Do I not have to keep the elbow in? Is she capable of that? I'm never letting loose of the hand because I can't let the wrist go. If I let the wrist go, it's gonna curl right back up. So the wrist is the key. Okay? If it's a flaccid limb, I'm still probably gonna bring it out here. Again, just because I have a little bit more control, that I can do it this way in case I need this hand somewhere else. I don't like having both hands tied up here and it be needed here somewhere, personal. And you can see I still have this leg blocked just because it's a natural reaction to have this taken care of. Foot in front, I could block her knee in a half second if she started to slide. So, and then I can move myself away and get her to come with me. Now, I'm not pulling on this limb at all. We have to care for the shoulder. We don't want to sublux. We don't want to dislocate. So I'm literally just holding the limb. If she was not following me with her body, I would stop. And that's why we don't do this. Does that put the shoulder joint in jeopardy?
Yes.
Yes. So that's why we do it this way. She's not getting as great of weight bearing because I'm moving, but we are getting information to the brain. And we're still going to get weight bearing with it just sitting here. We're just not going to get it with the back and forth weight shifting. Not that far out. Make sense? So the next step is to further assess the upper extremity and its weight bearing capabilities.